I've had an absolute ball with Hades these past few days, and as much as I love the art and the music, I feel like that subject has been covered a ton. Not that this video is inherently groundbreaking or anything, but I thought it would be fun to share my experience so far and show how I decided to tackle this game. First off, the most obvious thing that I fell in love with was the theme of mythology. I kept trying to guess which god and goddess would show up whenever I accepted a boon. Oh. Wait, what culture or whatever was Bacchus? Another thing I appreciate is that they could have easily made Hades and Zagreus, our main protagonists, very edgy as the god and prince of the underworld. But instead they just made them look cool. I don't want to go into territory I'm unfamiliar with, like art, history, etc., but I was always a math guy. I enjoy solving problems and overcoming challenges. So instead, let's dive into the mechanics and how I utilize them. Basically how it works is you can go bang, 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 sometimes bam, or then you get that thing, get these things, but these two things are more important because they make you stronger permanently. Then you go up to dad, tell him you're the one leaving for milk this time, and get sent straight back to the underworld because you suck.
However, so am I.
I honestly don't like most of the weapons. Next to none of them fit my general playstyle except for the default sword and the gauntlets, and maybe the spear. In almost every MMORPG and RPG I play, I always pick the Oonga Boonga Big Sword Big Number class because I just like melee combat and pressing buttons. Now, do I know my WoW rotation as a Fury Warrior? Sure, but it's easy and I just get to press a lot of buttons. Also, I've played almost all the Souls games, so dodging and hitting is a formula I'm pretty familiar with. Eventually, once you unlock all the weapons with keys, you unlock actually upgrading the weapons. It uses Titan Blood, which you can get some by killing the first boss for the first time with each of the weapons. You can also buy them from the trader Karen, but other than that, I'm not too sure how to get more. I decided to play this game completely blind, meaning I wasn't going to look up anything at all. I want to experience video games how they were meant to be played sometimes. Back before I had 24-hour access to the internet, in some of my favorite games, I would just spend hours trying to figure stuff out. Now you could also just look it up and move on in a minute and not waste that much of your time. Neither way of playing the game is wrong by any means, but I feel like a lot of charm can wear off on a game when you just know everything about it. Cough, cough. But not to get on the moral high ground about playing a video game or anything, just do what you want. The hardest part of Hades by far is when you first start out. The game isn't a traditional roguelike, meaning your progress can be tied to upgrades outside of runs. Whereas when I boot up Enter the Gungeon, my progress is tied to how well I know the enemies and the RNG of the items I get. So when you first start in Hades, you have no upgrades and winning feels nearly impossible. For example, on my second run ever, I got to the third boss because I had some godlike RNG. But it didn't have any upgrades at all, so my damage was so minimal. Just compare this to this. That being said, the game gets a lot easier when you stop focusing on beating the game and instead start focusing on getting darkness and keys, which are the currency to make yourself stronger at the Mirror of Night. I ended up dedicating entire runs just to get more currency and not to beat the game. It can take a while, but here's a tip if you're just starting out. If you have Poseidon as one of your Olympians, he has the boon Ocean's Bounty, and if you pair that with the random bonus you get from some of the weapons, you can gain an insane amount of darkness. Now I mentioned you can get Poseidon as one of your Olympians. On each run I learned that there is actually only a natural max of 4 Olympians plus Hermes that you can pull from. Meaning once you pick boons from 4 different Olympians, you're usually locked into those 4 for the rest of the run. The only exception I found being Olympian keepsakes. If you gift an Olympian a vial of love nectar or whatever the hell this stuff is, they'll give you their keepsake. Equipping these guarantees your next Olympian boon is one from that specific Olympian. So if you already have 4 Olympians, you can get a 5th from using these keepsakes. I found this is really good if you like using the Mirror of Night upgrade family favorite. At max rank, this thing can give you plus 5% damage for each Olympian's boons that you're using. Pretty neat. At first, my favorite Olympians were just Ares and Athena because I thought Doom was cool and reflecting attacks is just a good tool to have. But once I unlocked privilege status, I started to like Dionysus and Aphrodite more. That's partly why I love this game. The mechanics seem daunting, but everyone can kind of figure it out and make up their own strategies. This isn't like Yu-Gi-Oh! Where you have to read an essay off of each card, but if you want to use the card game analogy, this is more like a Slay the Spire. And no, that's not because this is also a roguelike, but because you can actually build a deck and know exactly what it does. It's just simple. Finally, I wanted to touch on the bosses in this game. There's not a ton from what I know, but they're all really fun to fight. The first time I fought Meg, for example, I of course had a hard time. Then right when you start getting used to fighting her, they throw 2 more sisters at you, all with unique and fun mechanics. Now I look forward to fighting Meg more than the others all the time. The Bone Hydra has a really fun mechanic where each time you fight it, it will have a different head. Each of the heads shoots different projectiles, although this boss kinda has gotten pretty easy. It's just the ads that spawn that I actually take hits from. Next is Ornstein and Smote. I mean Theseus and Asterius. I just want to say I love how they balanced arrogant asshole with humble and well-mannered beast. More than anything, I just hate Theseus and celebrate his death every time I beat him. This boss fight though was very hard for the first 5 to 10 times I played it, until I actually developed a strategy. Although it's insanely simple, it saved me many hits. Just focus on Asterius and stay behind a pillar while Theseus cowers in a corner and throws spears at you. That way the real men can duke it out, and then when that's done, that little rat Theseus has nowhere to run. After beating these guys, you face your next boss, Cerberus. I for real thought that this was actually going to be a Sif moment and I'd have to fight the dog, but thankfully the devs have a heart. All you gotta do is go into the rat infested, poison dart throwing, axe trap having, musty ass dungeon, and then you get the dog a little treat. This area is okay. I feel like it's not really worth going through all the doors unless you have a play safe build. But like I mentioned, I only use the damn sword, so I go straight to the next part.
Every blasted time.
Only 4 bosses in, and you already fight your father. I won't say too much about this boss because I actually plan on making a video showcasing my final winning run, which I actually have not gotten to yet, but I've just been super close lately, so it's bound to happen. This, however, is not the end goal for me. I am so addicted to this game right now, I think I can 100% it, but I also want to play the Hell mode and that new game plus mechanic, Heat. I want the gamer achievement of completing the game on Heat 20 at least. With all that said, I just want you guys to remember 1 sub equals 1 pet for Cerberus, so you better get on it. Thanks for watching. If you guys made it this far, this is the kind of content I have a passion for, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. I mean, this is also the first time I wrote like a 3+ page script, so I'm sorry if I sound like a robot when talking in these. I will only get better from here. Let me know what else you guys like to see, any other games or suggestions. I do read every comment, and I do take note of suggestions. So anyways, until next time.